so-called Negro community has shocked the white man by resisting all efforts to divide us. I think that you and I should continue to shock him by staying and working together in unity, despite religious, political, economic, or educational or social differences.
My people are terrified. We've been terrorized to the point that we're mentally and spiritually paralyzed. We suffered through centuries of dehumanization and degradation. It took the form of slavery and segregation in this land of the free, where oppression's government sanctioned. We're subjected to systemic skin color discrimination, from black codes to Jim Crow to black criminalization. It's been 400 years, it's time for our liberation. We're a nation within a nation, victims of colonization. Where's our revolution and Independence Day celebration? Cause what's the 4th of July to the slave on the plantation? And slavery didn't end, they just changed its implementation. Just check the 13th Amendment, then you'll see why so many black males end up as guilty defendants. The system isn't broken, it's working as it's intended. So I'm not here to fix it, I'm here to end it.
And then again, if we tell you that Negroes are being hung on the tree or being shot down illegally, unjustly, and those Negroes should do something to protect themselves, you say you're advocating violence.
I won't rest till this nightmare we're living in ends, and we see justice for our murdered young innocent men. If black lives really matter, black people need the proof. Cause we are the only ones responsible for our improvement. How can we leave it to someone else to do what's best for us, especially when there's someone else has historically been oppressing us? We can't use a system built to enslave us to free us, and we really sick if we think that they white Jesus can heal us. Our children need us to defend them, teach them and guide them, show them love and bring out the greatness that is deep inside them. Are we gonna build a nation or stay on the plantation? Keep begging for our freedom or fight for our liberation?
When the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, he didn't say get nonviolent. He said praise the Lord, but pass the ammunition.
We must be willing to die together, or we'll definitely die separately. We desperately need unity if liberation is our destiny. If we don't know our history, then we doomed to repeat it. White supremacy is the enemy, but together we can defeat it. They stole us from the motherland, sold us into slavery, forced us to work for them. They got the nerve to call us lazy. In this caste system, we're outcasts, still treated as second class. But I can feel it in the air, revolutions in the forecast. We came for greatness, but they don't want us to know. So they hid our history to keep us under control. All it takes is to take a stand. The enemy's not invincible, but we must come together as one nation indivisible.
20 million black people don't even know their own language. Why? Because he took it away from them. 20 million black people who don't even know the history of their ancestors. Why? Because he took it away from them. And if you're trying to tell them how thoroughly and completely they've been robbed, he says you're teaching hate. That's something to think about. Today you are coming out of college. You're coming out of the leading university. You're trying to go in a good direction, but you don't know which direction to go in.
So by now, all of you have seen the situation in the media with what's going on with Aries Spears and Tiffany Haddish, and many of you have wanted to know my thoughts on it, and I took my time before I said anything. I'm gonna keep it straight to the point. With the so-called comedy skit, which is what it's being called. I didn't find a damn thing funny about what I saw of it because I did not watch the whole thing. Don't want to see the whole thing. When you are capable of putting something like that together, when you are capable of participating in something like that, something is wrong with you. Something is wrong with you. I do not have any remorse or compassion for anybody that engages in any type of pedophilia. I don't think it's a funny thing to joke about. I don't give anybody a pass that participates in setting children up to be victimized by pedophiles. Let me make that clear right now. So for those of you that have seen it, you already know how disgusting the so-called comedy skit was. That wasn't no damn comedy skit. It's certain things you don't joke or play about. And for me, the harming and dehumanization and the victimizing the children isn't something to play about or make a damn joke about. I don't hold company or hold court with people that think those types of things are funny, because it's not. Everybody is focusing rightly enough on Aries Spears for what he did. Sick. I saw a snippet of it where this boy was, in the tub with this child in his underwear and was rubbing oil. Oh my God, I can't even. Y'all know what it was. Y'all saw it. If you want to see it, you can go find it. I'm not going to present it on this channel. I'm just describing the few bits of it that I saw. When I saw what I saw, that pissed me off. It made me angry because, see, I grew up in a family where the children were protected. As far as I know, nothing's happened to me or my cousins or anybody in our family, because the men in our family didn't play that shit, man. And the women didn't play that. I grew up as a Gen X in a time in a community where you couldn't come around us if that's what you was into. In Southern Georgia, I'm going to tell y'all something, man. In most parts of Georgia, period. You can't be somebody that can do something to children and come around us. You can't joke about it because, see, the men in the community are going to get at you. I'm just going to keep it a buck with you. You can't run around here and openly have it known that that's what you into. I'm not saying other places in the country don't have that mentality, because most of us in the foundational Black American culture don't support no pedophilia. But I know down here you ain't got a snowball's chance in hell as a pedophile running around open in Georgia. Nah, you just don't. Not around no black people. You better go where the white folks at and see if they'll tolerate it. But you can't get away with it around us. So we condemn Aries for his part. But see, I keep seeing a lot of people, and I ain't got to name no names. Everybody know who they are. A lot of people keep trying to give Tiffany Haddish an out with this, but I can't do that because you had to be told what this was about when you brought them children over there. And there have been people that have come out with information on the mother. In fact, I advise you all to go over to my brother Dewan B's channel. He laid out a lot of good information about some specifics about the mother in the case, who basically, in my opinion, man, she did exactly what, those parents in the R. Kelly situation did. They should be locked up with him too. Since all y'all want him locked up, okay, cool. Lock up the parents too. Lock them up. Because, see, ain't nowhere in the hell that you are the legal parental guardian of any children that are minors and you don't know where they are and they out of your care for days at a time, like in the R. Kelly situation. There's no way that you can be a parent in this situation. Why would you allow your child to go over to somebody's house that they're not related to? Okay. Then you don't know what they call themselves trying to do with your child as far as that. You can't tell me that woman, their mother, you know, the children who were the victims at the time in this, you can't tell me they didn't know what that was about. There's no way that I'll believe that. You can't tell me that woman, from what I understand, the mother was an up and coming comedian trying to get on. So I guess she kind of figured, hey, you know, by any means necessary, you can have my kids and do whatever. That's my opinion. That's what I think. So for me, I can't, you know, absolve Tiffany Haddish because she knew. I ain't trying to hear that she wasn't there for none of the scenes. No, you knew. You coming out now because you see how bad it is and you backpedaling, and it's been going on for years, I understand. So that lets you know too that, you know, anytime something's been going on for years like that, from my understanding, they tried to bring a criminal case, but because of lack of evidence, you know, it was thrown out. But this is what I find the most telling when it comes to situations and accusations like this. I am not a parent, but if I were, let me tell you something, man. If I understand that you've done something to my child, if my child tell me that, I'm going to look into it. And if I find out that that's what you did, my first thing on my mind, I ain't trying to get no bag. My first thing on my mind is putting your ass in a bag. That's how I feel about it. I'm going to find whoever's responsible, and the police better get to you before I do. That's where I stand with that. Cause see, when you think about that kind of violation to your seed that you brought into this world, that's an act of war for some of us. That's an act of war, man. You touch flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. Now I got to touch you. Some of us ain't gonna sit around and wait on the white man's justice if you harm our children. That's where I stand with it. So I find it very despicable when the first thing that happens is people start talking about how much money they can get for something. When it comes to loss of life or harm to their children, that doesn't sit well with me. If you really love and value the person, you want justice first before anything else. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. It's going to be interesting to see what else comes out because, see, I'm going to tell you like this. Should Aries Spears or Tiffany Haddish be held accountable for their actions? Because, yes, these were actions that were made by decisions they chose to make. Should they be held accountable for their actions? It's going to be interesting to see if they tell on anybody else in the industry. Because, see, you got to understand something, brothers and sisters. A lot of these entertainers, athletes, politicians that are black, unfortunately, what they will do when they get around white people, they start seeing the things that white people are able to get away with and do. And they start trying to become little versions of those people themselves. They tend to think that, okay, I'm in these circles. Maybe I can do what they do and get away with it. No matter what that is, whether it's crimes and trying to do certain little scams they have going on or whatever the case may be. When they get up under them people, man, they start to try to imitate their behavior. And for me, that's got to already be within you before you come around them people, because there are plenty of brothers and sisters that are athletes and entertainers and politicians and businessmen that don't engage in none of the stuff that the dominant society is known for doing. Particularly nothing with no pedophilia and, anything involving taking advantage of a child. You have to be beyond sick to have that mindset that you'll do anything for money. Anything for money. I don't trust nobody like that. You'll do anything for money. Speaking for myself, it's just some things I would never do for money. Anything that leads to me deliberately and knowingly harming my people or my community, I don't want that kind of money. Because I got to be able to sleep at night. I got to be able to wake up every day and look myself in the mirror as a man and be proud of who I am. Knowing that I'm doing the best I can as a human being to walk in integrity and to do everything I can to educate, uplift, and empower and protect my people. I can't do that by doing anything for a damn bag. It's too many ways to make an honest living. Now, for me, I'm the type of brother that if I was doing something in the entertainment industry, or if I was an athlete or whatever, and somebody came to me and said, hey, look, in order for you to get to the next level and get these kinds of contracts or whatever, we're going to need you to do X, Y, Z. And it's something that compromises my integrity as a human being first, but especially as a black person, you can keep that. I guess this is just as far as I'll go then, as far as dealing with them. Because see, my mindset is I'll go however far I want to go. That's how I would be in anything that I was doing. I'll go however far I want to go. And on top of that, this is what really pisses me off about people that do things like these two did. Yes, I'm saying two because they both were in it. This is what pisses me off about people like that. Not only will you go as far as you are determined to go, you'll go as far as our people want you to go. See, no matter what you choose to do, brothers and sisters, if you're doing it for the right reasons and you have the support of our community behind you because they see that you are an upstanding individual and you put integrity first and you not no sellout and you love your people and you want to help your people, our people will put you wherever you need to go. They'll put you wherever you need to go as far as success. They'll put you wherever you need to go as far as notoriety, if that's what you're seeking, which is all for a reason to be doing things. If you're just doing it for notoriety. My view is you should do it from the heart, and any notoriety that comes from you doing those things, that you'll get there. It'll come. Our people will put you wherever you want to be as far as like any type of position you want to be in. All you have to do is look on this channel for an example of that. One of my latest presentations was on the late great, as I call him, the King of Harlem, even though he wasn't a perfect man. None of us are perfect people. But I did a presentation on Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Okay. That is a good example of how our people will put you where you want to be or where you need to be if you do for them and put our people first. So you don't have to sell out and do things like this and be in situations where you harming children, man. That's despicable. See, for me, I'm the type of person, and many of you that have worked with me know this. Many of you that have congregated and associated with me online or offline know this. I'm the type of person, man. One thing I take very serious is the protection of children, man. Anybody's child should be safe around any black adult. That's the way I should see it. That's the way I see it. That's the way I wish it was. A child is innocent, man. A child and an elderly person are two of the most helpless and innocent people on the planet. So when we speaking about it from the aspect of a child, man, that's innocent, that doesn't know anything about the world, man, your job should be to shelter and protect the child, man, and educate them. Every interaction and every word you speak around the child, a little growing vessel of life, who there's no telling what they could be in our community if you pour the right things into them. Everything that you interact with them and do with them and speak to them should be uplifting and positive to inspire them. A child has no business being afraid around a black adult. The children are supposed to be able to look at adults around them for protection and wisdom and guidance. I can't, for me, I could not conceive of doing anything like that, because see, let's just think about this. Y'all wanted my thoughts on it. I'm going to show you where I look at it. Think about being Aries Spears and Tiffany Haddish or anybody that participates in anything like this. And you seen that the child was uncomfortable with what you were trying to get them to do. And you still coerce them to do it anyway. And after this all said and done, you go to sleep and sleep that night and you sleep peacefully. You wake up in the morning, you don't have an issue with what you did. But that child didn't go to sleep peacefully. That child didn't wake up the same way and just go about their lives. That child is traumatized because of what your ass did. Do you know how rotten and evil a person you got to be able to do something like that to a child? See, I want y'all to understand something. A lot of these people that's walking around, they look like humans, but they're not. Some of these people are demons, man. And I'm just going to tell you the truth, man. When you look at people like Tiffany Haddish, who is non-FBA, she's Eritrean, by the way. As far as I know, Aries Spears is LBA. But when you look at them, they just have this old grungy, grimy look about them that you just wouldn't trust. I'm just going to tell you the truth, man. I ain't know, just looking at them. Sometimes there's just a look about a person. And I guess for those of us that grew up in the South that actually had the privilege and the honor of knowing our great-grandparents and grandparents, one of the things I think that's very important about spending time around elders like that, they can teach you how to read a person's spirit. Now, what do I mean by that? They can teach you how to read a person's spirit by not only if they were people that carried themselves with integrity, they can teach you how to read a person's spirit by just listening to certain things they do, watching how they move, the way they speak, who they interact with. What are some of the things that they believe in and stand for? You start to be able to read a person's spirit by observing this very carefully. And sometimes on a deeper level, sometimes you can just walk into a room with some folks and just something not feel right. Some of y'all probably don't understand what I'm saying when I say that. I feel bad for you because that right there is a protection for you in a lot of situations in life. There have been times where I've gone places and if I've had that feeling, I'll turn around and leave. It ain't got to make sense to nobody. And I've seen times where I've had that feeling I was right to leave that place. I mean, it's just some people, man, that, you know, you can feel the rottenness coming off their spirit. I don't care how well dressed they are, how much money they have. Because see, that's another thing, a bad problem we have in our community. A lot of people look at how much money somebody make or the things that they own and possess, and that automatically trumps any type of despicable behavior that they've carried on. You just give that a pass. I'm not one of those people. I don't care how wealthy you are, what you own. If I ever find out you did something to a child, you can't rock with me. I ain't got no love for you. If you've inflicted any type of harm on a child, that's a deal breaker for me. I will cut all ties with you overnight. You will never hear from me again, and I will never show you any type of respect if I ever see you. You can't come nowhere around me. That's just how I feel about it. See, it's been a lot said about this situation with the current ongoing, legal ramifications that's going on around it. But this is the part that bothers me the most. The children that in the situation, they're adults now, but how did this affect them? What did this turn them into? Because unfortunately, a lot of times that children that are molested or sexually abused or what have you, or put in these types of despicable situations, they end up inflicting that harm upon other people. Sadly enough, especially if they don't get the right therapy and counseling to help them deal with things. And and I'm going to keep it a buck with you. Sometimes there's some things that you can experience in life where there is no human therapy or counseling that can help you deal with it. Sometimes that counseling will have to be divine in nature. Whatever spiritual system you practice or whatever, that help will have to come from beyond mortal understanding and mortal capability. So for me, as I go about my journey in life, I try to be the type of brother to make sure that I deal in an uplifting way with my people as far as it depends upon me. I am far from perfect, but one goddamn thing that nobody can say about me is I've ever hurt or put a child in harm's way deliberately. I've never done that. I've never done that. I would never think about doing something like this. If I was the cameraman involved in this, if I was a writer involved in this, I would have been like, oh no, bro, I don't want my name associated with nothing like this. I ain't got nothing to do with it. I would have immediately like, no, that's as far as the end of the road as far as I go. So I'm looking at everybody else that was involved in the production of this. And that Funny or Die site that had it up for years and then just took it off when things hit the fan. I'm like, that's a lot about them too. Because see, let's be clear. In this country, when it comes to the harm and anything that is detrimental to black people, especially black children, that's just par for the course in the dominant society. So if you are a black person that's an adult and you know this and you participate in something like this that we are trying to protect our children from, you are the enemy as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't want these two anywhere around me, and I damn sure wouldn't trust them around nobody's children. Everything ain't funny. I like to laugh, like we all do. Laughter is a important part of the human spirit, but if I'm going to laugh, I'm going to laugh at the right things. I'm not laughing at nothing involving, there's no way that could be funny. If you wanted to do a PSA about pedophilia and things of that nature, why you couldn't use a little person? Why you had to use real children? Huh? Why did you have to do that? Man. Speaking as a man, and it's our responsibility to primarily protect our community, you have to possess the right thinking first. And any man amongst us that would look at that and find it funny, you are not able to protect the community because you are a threat to the community. Any woman that looks at that and finds that funny, you are not able to protect the community from your standpoint. You are a threat to the community. See, for the men, we are primarily responsible for the physical protection of the community. The women should be primarily responsible for the mental protection of the community, the spiritual protection of the community. You can't be responsible for that if you're the type of woman that thinks that this is funny or it's okay to give Tiffany Haddish a pass on this. I got to look at you with the side eye. Yes, I understand that the white supremacist system will put all types of trumped up things on you when you are a successful black person in any area of economics in this country. But I will not look the other way on things that people deliberately chose to do either. There's no way to make an excuse for either of these two on this. This ain't, the white man making it up. No, we saw the video. We saw it. I saw clips of it, but some people have seen the entire thing. And from what I hear, it is mentally disturbing. See, for me, I've seen a lot of horrible things in my lifetime, whether it's on video or up close and personal, involving loss of life. And for me, when it comes to anything involving children, I can't really stomach too much of that. I've seen a lot of things, man, and it take a lot for me to say I can't stomach something. It really does. So, I just could not really look at that in its entirety. That is one of the most mentally disturbing things that I have ever seen. Just a few little clips I saw of it. And, it brings us to the greater conversation about the things that we find funny in our community. I would hope that I am not alone in the sentiment that nothing about what these two did was funny, because it's not. We have predators outside of our community. We can't afford to have predators within the community, brothers and sisters. Me, if I had a say about it, these two would be excommunicated from anything involving our community and our culture. I would get out. You have to go. Because, see, when you are responsible for physically or mentally harming children, you're responsible for harming the future of our nation. The children are the future of our nation. The children are the future of any society's nation. So if you're not going to do everything you can to protect and enlighten and encourage and provide, proper counsel and guidance to the future of our nation, you are a detriment and a cancer to our people. You don't belong in black society if it's going to be a healthy society. And if we have any true morality and dignity and standards, we can't have people like this around us, man. And we damn sure can't have them around our children. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you watch out for your babies. Make sure you understand that those little vessels of life that you have brought into the world, They did not ask to be here. And each one of them has a purpose. And the only way that they're going to be able to fully realize that purpose is if you give them a protected start. A start with a loving, stable family household. Give them a start where they know that they can come to you and count on you for anything. Give them a start where they know that when they go to sleep at night and when they wake up, that they're in a loving household and that their parent would provide and do anything for them. Because see, for that mother to participate in this, that was a complete betrayal of motherhood. That is so far removed from anything that motherhood is. That's awful, man. That's disgusting and it's despicable. So I'm holding all of them accountable. The mother, Tiffany Haddish, Aries Spears. I'm holding all of them accountable. Everybody that wrote the thing down, the producers, that Funny or Die site, the whole thing. That's who I'm holding accountable for it. I can't, none of them gets a pass in my book for doing what they did. My question is, I want to know who are the other ones. How many times did Aries Spears and Tiffany Haddish, yeah, both of them, how many times did Aries Spears and Tiffany Haddish make jokes about this and what they did? Because when people do stuff like this, they don't just do it and forget about it. They run around talking about it. I wonder who else knew about this. I wonder who else is doing things like this. How many people do they know that have done things like this with folks' children and just have it in some private collection somewhere? Because that's what they get off on. Because that's what that looked like to me. I need to know, we all need to know what kind of people are around us and their state of mind as far as regarding doing these types of things or thinking these types of things are okay. We can't properly protect our communities until we understand that. So as I get ready to close this, brothers and sisters, make sure that you have the kind of relationship with your children where they can talk to you about anything. Make sure you are completely involved in every aspect of their lives, asking them how their day was, what went right, what went wrong. Did anything happen to make you feel uncomfortable today in any kind of way, whether it's big or small? That's the type of parent that you should be. That's the type of parent you better be. Because see, one thing about our children, black children, are targeted by people that none of us have even seen or met for harm and abuse. If you have a black baby anywhere in this country or anywhere on this planet, there's somebody that you have never met that is plotting harm on your child. And you are the only source of protection and defense for your children. That's not going to come from outside. That's going to come from within. It's got to come from us, as it should. I hope justice is served in this. If by the time everything comes out, hopefully whatever happened that was hidden will come to the light, as it always does, and the proper measures will be taken for this, because this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. Protect your children, family. Black first. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you all in future content. Celebrate the foundational Black American culture of freedom, fighting, and resistance with the first annual Aretasuse 5K run. This cultural experience will honor our FBA ancestors and icons while harnessing energy from our past to power our future. There will be security at this event to ensure everyone has a safe and enjoyable experience. Aretasuse Run is a cultural event for family and friends. Strollers and wheelchairs are welcome. The in-person event will include a free 1-mile fun walk and will be held on December 17th in Tampa, Florida. Unable to make the live event, you can also participate virtually anywhere from December 17th to December 30th. All registered participants will receive the official Aretasuse Run finisher medal, t-shirt, and more, with the ability to upload their race time to the official site. Live event participants will receive the time race scores, professional finisher photo, video, and your name will be announced as you're welcomed across the finish line. Enjoy the post-race after party and review with a traditional FBA breakfast. You can also help us settle fun family debates like sugar or salt and grits. Prepare with family workouts and runs and post on social media using the hashtag #AretaSusayRun. For registered info and sponsorship opportunities, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Click the link in the bio. Hope to see you all there.